I'm Montez Jones, and I want to thank Clifton for inviting me and giving me an opportunity. I'm always humbled when anyone asks me to speak or teach or coach them, because I know there's a lot of speakers and teachers and coaches that are out there. You have my bio in front of you. One thing I always highlight in my bio, I like to thank everyone for their support, because I'm a 26-year Air Force veteran. So since you all are working, you all paid me. So I'm happy, and I thank you for that. I saw a guy from the Army Air Corps out front, and me and him had a discussion. And like he said, you never know who you'll meet and what you'll learn from them. But this young man out there served in World War II in the Army Air Corps before the Air Force even started. So me and him had a conversation. So you never know who you'll meet. And one of my mentors told me, if you're not networking, you're not working. So when I met him and we finally met, like he said, we didn't know how we were gonna work this thing out, and some things started to happen, and he called me, and I was going on vacation, and then I had to go to Mississippi to teach. I had to go to San Antonio to teach, and we worked it out. So I'm here, and I appreciate it. So I have a few things for you. I will put the commercial up front. And here's the commercial. Tomorrow I'm going to talk about finding your sweet spot. Purpose, passion, and plan. That's what I'm going to talk about tomorrow. So the precursor to that is talking about thoughts. Because one of the things that I realize is that if you change your thoughts, you can change your direction. But if you don't change your thoughts, you're going to continue to go in the same direction. So I'm going to spend this small amount of time that I have talking about thoughts. And tomorrow I'm going to talk about finding your sweet spot, because your purpose is in your thoughts. And I'm going to expound on that tomorrow. And that's going to be one of my first points for tomorrow. So that's my commercial. 30 seconds. That was 30-second commercial. So there you go. And so I'm inviting you to come back tomorrow. Like I told you before, I am an executive director with the John Maxwell team. So I do speaking, teaching, and coaching. And I realize that when I speak, then people have that thought process of a short-term memory. So I'm going to spend this time, and I will make sure that you are entertained. But come on with me on this journey about thoughts and how we do this. So this is my precursor. Here's how it will benefit you. I'm going to give you some questions to think about when you're thinking. Have you ever thought about when you're thinking? Yeah, you can do that, actually. Some of us can compartmentalize our thoughts, but other people cannot. But when you look at your thought process, there is a process to that. When I started thinking about what am I going to give you as a precursor to tomorrow, I had to think about, what do you need to know? Not what do I need to speak about? Lord, what do you want me to tell them? And I'm sorry, I'm a person of faith. I'm not apologizing. So if I say Lord or God, or if someone does not believe, just use the grand overall designer. Okay? So I'm good with that, because I speak to military audiences, and they tell me, well, you know, you got to separate that. So the grand overall designer, if you want to go that route. All right? So there's a process to this. So let's get into it a little bit. Let me give you an exercise. Let's do this visual exercise. All right. Now, for ladies, if you need to hold on to your pocketbooks, I'm going to have you close your eyes. Nobody's going to touch it. I'm going to keep mine open. But I need this visual exercise to start out. If you could, close your eyes for me, please. Now, as you close your eyes, think about your refrigerator. What color is it? Is it black, white, stainless steel? Is it a side-by-side? Is the compartment, the freezer compartment, at the bottom, or is it at the top? Think about, is it loud like mine? Or does it just have that hum? Do you have water and ice on the front? Does it come out in cubes? What is your refrigerator like? Now think about what's in your refrigerator. See, now you've already eaten, so I don't want you to get hungry, but still with your eyes closed, what is it like? And if you open the door, and sometimes when we leave stuff in there, what does it smell like? What is the smell right now? Because you probably opened it today. Now, here's what I want you to think about. What does my refrigerator look like? I saw some faces, some different faces. Open your eyes for me, please. I saw some different faces when I said, what does my refrigerator look like? Because I realize, and I know this, that we work on pictures. Our mind works on pictures. So if I work on a picture, when I tell you to look at and remember what your refrigerator looks like, it's fairly easy because you probably saw it this morning. Now, when I say, what does my refrigerator look like? I saw some, where's he going with this? Please let me open my eyes. Because here's the thing, if you haven't been in my house, if you haven't seen my refrigerator, if you didn't know me when I went to Lowe's and got the refrigerator for the house, you don't know what my refrigerator looks like. So here's my introspective question for everybody here. Because some of you are business owners, some of you have 9-to-5 jobs, and you're inspiring to be an entrepreneur or business owner. What does success look like? What does success look like? Some of us go into business, we go into jobs, but we don't have that picture of success. So we really don't know what we're aiming for. And if you don't have that picture of success, it's very difficult to go down a road and have our GPS guide us, God's positioning system, guide us if we don't know what we're looking for. And how do we know what He is looking for us? I was in Mississippi last week, and I talked to a group of teenagers from 14 to 21, college age, getting ready, high school, college age. And we did the career success pointer. I did that with them and talked about branding. And I asked them, I said, what does success look like? And all of them looked at me like I was crazy. So we went down the road of defining what success looks like, but I understand success for you is different than success for you. It's different than for success for you. You have to define it. Now, let's get a little deeper with that. Because here's the thing. What does success look like at work? That's one definition. What does success look like as a father? I have a 22-year-old son. That's another definition. What does success look like in your marriage, in your relationship with your significant other, whatever it may be? That's a different definition. You have to define it because that's a thought. You got to know what it looks like first. So point number one, you have to have a thought. Okay? You have to think a thought. So when you think these thoughts, some of the things that you got to look out for, and I want you to think about, is what does success look like? There's a quote in one of John Maxwell's books. Good thinkers are always in demand. A person who knows how may always have a job, but the person who knows why will always be the boss. Good thinkers are always in demand. So what are your thoughts when you're at the job? What are your thoughts of your business? What are your thoughts as a significant other? What are your thoughts? So here's a question. If you have a thought, when is your best time to think? You got to know when you have your best time to think. For me, I get up in the morning, I go to the gym. While I'm in the gym, for some reason, I have these thoughts. And I'll write them down. The last one I had, and I'll tell you, what's the difference between evaluation and judgment? Because when I go into a corporation and I start teaching them about how do you evaluate your employees, Some of the managers will say, well, she or he was really good, but 10 years ago, they were terrible people. Well, what's the standard? So I got to teach them what's the difference between evaluating and judgment. That was one of the thoughts that I had. So my thoughts come at about that time, but every once in a while, and you all probably have done this too, 3 o'clock in the morning. Oh, yeah. Now y'all know what I'm talking about. So it ain't just me. You wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning, you have that thought, and it's, why am I up at 3 o'clock thinking? I just want to go back to sleep because I know the alarm's going off at 5, 6. I just want to get some rest. So you have to realize, and somebody said, I have any book writers in here? Book writer, okay. So book writers should have a time to write, concentrate, and that's what they do. That's one of the things people keep telling me, you got a book in, you got, not yet. But I know I'm going to have a time to write when I do write a book. So for you, whatever you do, have that specific time to do it. And when's your best thought process? For me, it's not at 10 o'clock at night. I tried that one time too. I really did. I said at 10, I'm putting my phone on silent. I'm going to get this book, I'm going to read. And by 10:30, I was knocked out. Book laying on my chest. And I got a sleep number bed that comes up. So I was just, hey, and then I'll put it on timer so it'll go down by itself. So it's up to you. When is your best time to think? You have to determine that. So our good thinkers, sometimes we have thinkers that think deeply. Don't get upset with them. They challenge you. That's why a lot of people get upset when they ask why. Because if I have a thought, and I'm a deep thinker, then don't get upset at me because I'm asking you why. So when's your best time to think? Do your thoughts add value to other people? Okay, so this is just for you. You haven't even given this to somebody yet. But will this thought that I have add value to other people? For me, like I said, that thought that I have, I understand that will add value to people, as long as I get it correct. So will it add value to other people? And then, does it pour into my giftedness? Is it going to help me? Is it going to help me? Because if it helps me, I can help somebody else. So is it going to pour into my giftedness? I'm a speaker, teacher, trainer, and coach. So yes, I can teach somebody the difference between evaluation and judgment. I know I can teach that to somebody, and hopefully they will gain something from it. Because I understand you can't gain anything from it if you're not on my train. Sometimes when I go into corporations, they're there because they have to be, not because they want to be. So can that help them? Does it help my giftedness to give it out? Because like he said earlier, you have to give it in order to get something back. So you have to give it in order to get something back. The law of sowing and reaping. And then what about your journey? Does it help your journey? I'm on a journey right now to add value to people. So that's my mission. And yes, it helps. So once you, and think about this, everything starts with a thought. The chairs that you're sitting in right now were a thought. Probably somebody was sitting on the floor, sitting on the ground, their butt got tight and sleepy and legs got sleepy, and they might have thought, what if I could sit up ways? And then what? God gave us the tree, somebody went and cut down a tree, fashioned it into a chair, and look at you now. It's a thought. The iPhone was a thought. I could see somebody walking outside and say, hey, I wish I could call Clifton. Well, I think I can. Let me make this phone. So once you have that thought, point number 2, you have that thought, write it down. 3 o'clock in the morning, I have my iPad right there. I got my phone. We got notes on our phones and iPads. Write that down. Put it somewhere so you can keep it. Because and then it's going to start developing. We're going to talk about that in a second. But you have somewhere to write it down. Now, I like the people who are taking written notes, because when we go into our electronic gadgets and we type it, writing just does something different. And usually when I get up and when I do a talk or something, I may type it out first, but then I'll write it freehand. And it's just something different about writing it. But it's much more difficult to go over. I will say that. Okay. So, everybody's not into that. But we want to, what does it, once again, what does it taste like? What does it smell like? What does it feel like? The more senses you put into it, the better your thoughts will be, the more you can get them out. So you want to write it. You want to make sure that you have it somewhere, because that capturing it puts it into some form that you can use it. Now, 3 o'clock in the morning, I will say, sometimes I'm lazy. That was a good thought. I know it was. I'm going back to sleep. And then in the morning, after the comma, I don't remember what I said after the comma. So, and I'll say, don't be lazy, get up and write it down. You never know when you're going to use it. I've written speeches at 3 o'clock in the morning that I haven't used yet, but I got them in my hip pocket. I wrote a speech for Black History Month at 4 o'clock in the morning. And I said, ooh, this is good. Nobody's asked me to speak for Black History Month, but it's coming. It's coming. So write it down, capture it. Another quote. The great Kobe Bryant, in an interview, he said it like this about basketball, and I love this quote. Right before in his last year of NBA basketball, because hopefully he'll get into 3-on-3 and we'll be able to see him again. But anyway, he said, reading the game will make you a good player. Understanding what you are reading will make you a great player. But if you can write the game that others read, you'll be a champion. So if any of you have kids who play a lot of video games, get them into writing a video game, to designing a video game, to know the behind the scenes of why this man does this and why this young lady does that. Because if you can write that, once again, a thought, if you can write that, that's where it really is, programming. So just like I love the video team and I want to thank them for my sound, but sometimes being behind the camera is better than being in front of the camera. So when they play that video game and they see the designers' names, that's where it really is. You can play all day, but designing gets you credit throughout the playing of the game. So if I play it, you get credit. If he plays it, you get credit. She plays it, you get credit. But a lot of us want to be in front of the camera. So tell your kids, design a game. My son went to Full Sail University in Winter Park, Florida. And his major was sound engineering. That's what he started out as. And he started doing sound where he could take a movie clip and put wind in it. You could hear them walking through the grass. You can hear them as they walk, whatever. He can do some amazing things with sounds and videos. And I said, well, okay, you can put that in there, but can you pull it from somewhere to put it in there? Because that's where it's at. What's behind the scenes? So thoughts, you have them, write them down. After you write them, give it the 24-hour rule. Number 3, rethink that thought. Rethink it. And I say rethink it because usually when you rethink it, it gets a little larger to you. You know what? That was a great thought. All my thoughts are great until I rethink them. So rethink that thought, because 24 hours later, it might be something different. It might expand. I would tell my entrepreneurs do this. And I believe, this is Montez Jones, my belief, entrepreneurs should have their core values, what they do. and they want to grow this way. I was coaching a guy and he said, well, I'm a barber, but you know what? I'm going to get a food truck. I said, why are you going to get a food truck? He said, well, because it's going to make me another stream of income. I said, well, you're a barber. You want to grow like this. You don't want to put another line down here, because that's going to take you time to learn what the food truck needs to do, whatever pieces of paper you need. You got to have license, et cetera, et cetera. That's going to take time and take away from this. So grow out this way. Once again, what's your journey? So you have your thought, you write it down, then you rethink it. Use the 24-hour rule. So talk it through with yourself. Talk it through with yourself. We have this self-talk. Now, here's another commercial, 30-second commercial. I speak, then you have a commercial, then I come back to you. So tomorrow, I'm going to tell you about this thought process and what comes into this thought process. Because that thought process, it will back you down from any thought that you have. A great philosopher said, we usually only think of ourselves in a good way for a moment. The rest of that time, we're criticizing ourselves. I'm up here speaking, and you all have probably been out there and done something, and you thought, you know, I could have done this better. I could have did this. I could have said that. Could have went this way or that way. So I'm going to tell you about those thoughts and what comes into those thoughts in the commercial. I'm back. So rethink that thought. Because once you rethink it, it can expand. Now, this is my last point. Put the thought on the table. Put it on the table. This is where you are actually giving it to somebody. You want to have your inner circle. And your inner circle are those people that you trust. Your inner circle are those people that are your thought producers and people that can help you with this thought. So you should know who's in your inner circle. You don't want to, some people have different inner circles, and that's fine. Like I said, you have an inner circle at work, you have an inner circle at home, you have an inner circle with your church, with your girls, with your fellas, whatever it may be, with your women, with your men. So wherever that thought can help the best, give it to your inner circle. Because with your inner circle, they're going to tell you, no, that's not good. Or yeah, you know what? Here's what we can do about that. But hopefully those folks in your inner circle won't put you down. I have a business inner circle that I look to when I say, hey, you know what? I want to go into network marketing. I want to be a travel agent. Well, why do you want to be a travel agent? Well, because I speak, teach, and coach. And when I fly to Mississippi or I fly to San Antonio or California, I can book my own stuff. Then I can get the residuals back. Oh, well, on a plane? Yeah, fly on a plane, but you can't get residuals from a plane. Oh, okay. So we have those thought conferences. And I'm not upset if they give me some pushback. Because if I get that pushback, I can make that thought even better. But your inner circle shouldn't be the ones to say, oh, no, you can't do that. Here's an example. I used to work for the Army Corps of Engineers in Fort Worth, 9 to 5. I was making real nice amount of money. Let me put it that way. Real nice amount of money. And this is also where you tell about your thought. So I was making a nice amount of money, and I said, God, look, I want to do my own business. I've been having my business since 2014, but I retired from the military. I got a 9 to 5 job, and I said, 10 years, God, I'm going to be on this job 10 years, have another retirement, then I'll work my business full time. He didn't say nothing. Went on, was doing a little business on the side, kind of liking it. I was in my purpose. We'll go back to work, and get there at 6:30 in the morning. By 8 o'clock, I was halfway asleep at my desk. So I said, okay, God, 5 years. going to do this for 5 years. I'm not going to retire, but I'm going to stack my money, 401k, mutual funds, wherever. And then when I get finished, I'll go work the business. He didn't say nothing. So I finally said, okay, you tell me what you want, but you know I'm hard-headed. Give me a sign. I'm going to need a sign. You know, short of you coming down saying, hey, I want you to do it, give me something. I happened to call this guy. I had his number for 1.5 years. It was still on my desk. Called this guy, and I said, hey, somebody that I've worked for said that you and I could be a good team together. Kind of like Clifton. But it wasn't Clifton. And he said, so what do you do? I said, I do True Colors personality assessments, workshops. I teach leadership development. He said, oh, True Colors. Yeah. He said, okay, I want you to be in Galveston on this day, and I want you to do this retreat. We've been working for these people for 3 years now, and I'm going to put you in front of them. He didn't know me. We just had one conversation on the phone. I went down to, long story short, went down to Galveston, did a True Colors personality workshop for them. Their team switched from here to here with the training that we did. And I said, okay, I'm trying to learn from you because I want to do what you do. And he said, first of all, let me tell you, you underbid yourself. I was like, well, I knew this was an audition. Next time, it'll be different. He said, yeah, okay. He said, but I want you in all my contracts. And he does a lot of government contracts. So now I travel with him under his company as a subcontractor. That was it. That was what I needed. Here's what I'm talking about to make the point of key people. So I refashioned when I was going to quit my job. And I had vacation. So I quit my job 3 weeks before we went on the family cruise. Guess who called my job? My mom. Oh, he quit.
Oh my goodness.
You got to keep your key people informed. So she called me, and if y'all, you know, when you talk to your parents, you know something's up. She talked to me, and I was like, yeah, Mama, everything's going good. Da 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 da. Okay, all right, you have a good day. Click. 5 minutes later, hey, Mama, what's up? You forget something? You quit your job? It's like, yes, ma'am. I was going to tell y'all on the cruise, buy a bottle of wine, click glasses. Congratulations, I'm running my own company because I'm still getting paid by them. She said, well, why didn't you tell me? Hey, Mom and Dad, get on the phone. Both of y'all get on the phone at the same time. I quit my job. We'll talk about it later on. But you got to keep those key people informed. You got to put them in your thought process because I'll tell you, what I did with them, their learning model is different than mine because their learning model is this way. Go to school, get a job, work it until you retire or die, and do the best that you can. Climb up the ladder. For me, I have an entrepreneur mindset. So I ran some things through them because I know if I can answer their questions, I'm good. I'm good. So I had to jump off that cliff and build my wings on the way down. Like he was talking about with faith. So bring your idea to the table. Share your expectations. Talk to people in your inner circle. I realized that when I give my ideas to somebody else, my idea is my best idea. But when I give it to somebody else, it's going to be our best idea. Because you have something in front of you called Live to Lead. We're doing a Live to Lead simulcast. So when I was approached by the John Maxwell team to host Live to Lead, I was like, well, that's a good idea, but I need somebody to help me out. So my inner circle, which is Glenda, partnered with her agency, her company, and we started talking about how can we get this out? What can we do? What do we want to do? Do we want to do a full day, half day? All those ideas that I had, I gave to her, put them on the table. Here's what I expect. I expect 150 people. We got to find a venue that holds 150 people, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So y'all can think about what we had to go through to put this on, which is October 6th. So give that to somebody else and let them help you out. because it can help you out. But once you put it on the table, remind yourself it's not about what the outcome of the idea is. It's all about what is the best idea. I don't need credit for it. I just want the best idea so we can do the best behaviors. And we'll talk about behaviors tomorrow. Okay? So here's what we do. We think that thought. And when we think that thought, we have to look at it. And I'll tell you, our minds can only take so much. You know how it goes. You're driving down the street when you get lost. First thing some people do is turn off the radio. I gotta get my thoughts together. So we think that thought. So think that thought and then write your thought down. You want to write it. And then you want to use the 24-hour rule to rethink it. After you rethink it, then take it to your inner circle so you can broaden it. And I'll tell you, this will help you in that first step of finding your passion. Finding your purpose. So here's the caveat for tomorrow. Purpose, passion, and plan. We work on 3 planes of existence: thoughts, feelings, and actions. Your purpose deals with your thoughts. Your passion deals with your feelings. Then your plan is the outward behavior to get you to walking in your purpose and your passion. So thoughts, feelings, behavior. Purpose is your thoughts. Purpose is your thoughts. Passion is your feelings. Your plan is the actionable that you have to take in order to get into your purpose and passion. Okay? Thank you all for being attentive. I didn't see anybody falling asleep, so I'm happy about that. All right, thanks.